Alright, Travis Wayne Goodsell. Sunday. I had, again, remember this is a more like a soap opera series channel. So if you're expecting a topic issue, you're going to have to go through all the videos to find the topics. I'm sorry, I can't do topics. The subject matter is an ongoing daily thing, and so this is the days of my life. This is a vlog, a video log of my life. So, having filed against the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we're hopefully nearing the end, as the church's lawyers have responded late. And there are certain rules that they're supposed to abide by, but they're choosing not to. But had I received their motion to dismiss in a reasonable time frame, so that I could and be served. They didn't even serve me, and so it became later for them to respond. The manner in which I would have responded would be this video that I'm going to give to you today. I went over their motion yesterday as I got it in the mail and opened it live for you and went over it. And so this is hopefully going to be a little more organized. I don't write things down. This is just a vlog. This is not a presentation. This is not entertainment. So the lawyers made the claims, or the claim, literally, just one claim, that my complaint was rambling, and therefore did not conform to a proper lawsuit, and therefore they did not do what they're supposed to do. In Rule 8, General Rules of Pleading, they claim that I did not give a short and plain statement of the grounds for a claim for relief. And then they go and claim that my claim for relief needed to be a dollar figure rather than everything. I made it very clear in my request for relief that the nature of the case, the seriousness of the charges, the accusations that I'm making, are such that I cannot continue to be safe with a win, and especially with a loss in this case, because of the retaliation that will be done to me. And as I said, we're nearing the end of this, hopefully, which means either way, my life will be in danger. I will not be allowed to live in Utah, let alone anywhere in the world, because they're all over the world. They will hunt me down, literally. And so that's why my request for relief was worded that way. It has to be everything. Either they hand me the keys, or they sell all their assets and give me the rest, give me the balance. That's the only That's the only request for relief in which I have the best chance to live. The lawyers even sent death threats, as well as trying to cover up the crimes that I made in the case. And so, yeah, this is history making, guys. But their motion was to dismiss based on a claim that it was rambled. Then they gave examples. Their examples were from the nature of the case. The nature of the case, if you are unfamiliar with civil court law, is to explain to the court and to the defense why the preceding charges, the following charges, are presented. Why those particular charges. And so the nature of the case are not the accusations against the defense. And yet that's exactly what their defense was, that the nature of the case were accusations of a conspiratorial nature. The federal court for civil filing has two jurisdictions. One is just a regular jurisdiction against somebody who had done you wrong, which is 42 USC 1983. That's the jurisdiction for the majority of civil cases. Mine was not just a he said situation. Mine was for a conspiracy. Exactly what the defense was claiming that I was doing. Which I filed in the proper jurisdiction, 1985. And so I would also point that out if I were to apply. That the defense's claim that I filed in the wrong jurisdiction as a conspiracy theory is irrelevant, because I did file under the conspiracy filing, so they don't get to claim that. And so they then concluded at that point. Those were their claims, that it was rambling, and they gave examples from the nature of the case, not the counts. They did do one count that I caught, which referred to tithing, and they claimed that that was a religious matter. No. In other religions, Mormons, the requests from the pastors of the various churches are for donations. They are not payment to the church so that the member can participate in their religious rituals. Now, Catholics do charge for the service, individual services. Like if you want a baby blessing, you have to give a donation amount to the pastor. There may be a certain set fee. I don't know. When I was in New York, I attended several cathedrals, not just masses, but also baby blessings and marriages. My grandfather had a Catholic marriage to his second wife, because she wasn't Mormon, and he just, they were friends, but so that they could live together, they did her Catholic marriage. So obviously it didn't count for the Mormon marriage. And then they ended up getting a divorce because of their religious differences. But yeah, I've seen various Catholic services where you have to give a donation, and I've seen movies also where you're supposed to put your donation in a little case or box that's quite ornate and decorated. It's the offering that you give, and depending on your level of income determines how much you give. So there is no set amount from what I understand. But the church has a set amount, 10% of your income, which is a violation of the commandment in Doctrine and Covenants. But it's supposed to be 10% of your interest annually. Big difference, Mormons. And the clarification given by Benson is wrong. It's not your wages, it's your interest. So understand that. But it's a monthly payment. It's not per participation fee. So, for example, you don't, when you go to get your, take out your endowments, or go through for your endowments, or whatever the term is, you go to the temple, you get washed, anointed, and you go through the ceremonial ritual called the endowment. But the endowment also includes the washing and anointings. You have to do that in order to go on a mission, for example. And so in that case, if the church had it done like Catholics, where you give a donation to go, that would be fine, because then there's no set amount. But yeah, tithing is not a donation, it's a requirement. And it's also a condition of worthiness, because it's in the Temple Recommend Interviews, number 10. And so Mormons, the church, makes it very clear, if you are poor and needy, you are not paying your tithing, and therefore you are a sinner. Now, Mormons, the Book of Mormon makes it very clear that that kind of practice is of the great and abominable church, and that church is of the devil. And so that was not Joseph's intention. That was a later change. You must understand that. That the current church is not the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, even though they claim the title. And so that I dealt with that in my complaint. And so the defense was supposed to respond. They can't just claim, we disagree, therefore dismiss the case. That's supposed to be for a hearing on the merits of the case. But the defense for the church decided to instead dismiss without a hearing, because they're pushing for a hearing for dismissal rather than a hearing on the merits of the case. That's how they defeated Gaddy versus COP, K. Birmingham, is they argued that the case must be dismissed and forced a hearing on the dismissal motion rather than a motion on the charges. And the judge sided with the church because it's a Mormon judge. That's the problem in Utah, is that the judges are in the pocket, literally in the pocket, of the Mormon church. And that's a conflict of interest and a violation, a criminal violation of the oaths of office for judges And that's the motion that I replied with before I got their motion, was that the lawyers for the church need to be disbarred, and punished. I can't remember the word for punished. Because of this tithing issue. Because this is a protection racket rather than an offering to a religious organization made of one's own free will and in accordance with their level of income, rather than the way the church has it, as a condition of worthiness and a monthly regular payment. There are Mormons I've known who pay at the end of the year, right before their tithing settlement, and say, yeah, this is 10% of my total income. But the majority of people pay with each paycheck. The church, if you work for the church offers the option to have your tithing deducted from your check. So, yeah. So they then concluded saying, well, he's rambling, and his nature of the case are accusations of a conspiratorial nature, therefore dismiss the case with prejudice, which means that I can't file again if it's granted. And the church gets away with their crimes, and I can't file a complaint ever again against the church if that's what happens. And so this is for everything, literally. But the Rule 8B for defenses, number 1, in general, in responding to a pleading, a party must. So this is the defense. A, state in short and plain terms its defenses to each claim asserted against it. They didn't do that. They instead said the nature of the case was a conspiracy theory, and it must be dismissed. And then trying to claim that I didn't give a dollar figure. They just want a dollar figure, because the claim the whole church needs to be shut down. It cannot exist. Wasn't good enough for them. And the reason why is because they want to be able to continue to exist. And so their motion was baseless. It was improper, but I already dealt with that. And so that's what they were supposed to do, is defend or state a claim or a defense to each and every claim. And I made it very clear as I did each count. Counts under Roman numeral 1. Count 1, count 2, count 3, count 4. Counts under Roman numeral 2, count 1. And that was very clear. How they missed that was plain ignorant, or it's either ignorance or just outright, what's the term, where you're just being obstinate. But yeah, obstinate, I guess. Because I did put in counts. Those are the accusations. The nature of the case is not the accusations, which they claim was the accusations. And so they defended the nature of the case claims. They can't do that. And so that's what I would respond to the judge, is that they made no defense to any of the claims. Tithing was the closest. And they dismissed it as a religious matter, which I already clearly set in that count that it's protection money, using religion as the front. And so they didn't defend that claim by simply saying it's a religious matter, therefore, because that's not a claim. And so they had no good faith, as I'm reading here. They must intend good faith to deny all the allegations, and they had no good faith. And so my case, under normal circumstances, is a victory. I won. Not just because they were late, which automatically disqualifies them from any case whatsoever, because of a certain sum. Everything. But if I were to respond, and I did, but if I were to respond to this as well, I would do what I just told you guys about, is argue that their claim was just wrong. Now, I'm supposed to be civil. I'm not supposed to be abusive in my speech towards the other party in an official capacity. On this vlog, I can trash talk them all I want. But it would be difficult to hold back in that, and I would have to double check as I edit over and over again to make sure I didn't do that. But it's very clear. I would merely have to quote that the accusations are frivolous, that they make, by showing that page such and such is the nature of the case. Case closed. It's that simple. Those are not the accusations. I can't believe that they're even trying to make this kind of a defense. It's unprofessional. I mean, if it were another regular civilian who I was suing, and so they were having to learn the law themselves because they couldn't afford a lawyer, I could understand and would have to give some lenience for that. But these guys are professional lawyers who passed the bar, who got licensed, who are employed by a corporation, a big corporation, and they're making not just rookie mistakes, these are just ignorant mistakes, of contempt of court mistakes. I'm speechless. And so if Judge First actually sides with them, this will be a tremendous injustice. I don't know if I can express the depths of injustice that would be if Judge First said, yeah, they're right, Travis. You lose, and now that would be a death sentence. The judge's order for the church would be a death sentence to me, because it means that I cannot seek justice at all, and they will retaliate in full force, more than they've already done already. And remember, it's all because I came to them way back in 1998 and said, hey, Joseph Smith was on the right track. He's an actual translator. Isn't this awesome? Anything else that I can research? And they immediately attacked my own church that I was born and raised in, And now 50 years. They attacked me for supporting and defending what I thought was the Church of Joseph Smith's organization. So I understand that, but Mormons still don't like me. They don't like that I've done this to them, and they don't like that I've taken down their church. And it's not me, it's the church who has done this to themselves. Because that's the whole point that Mormons miss. You can't commit crime. Crime is wickedness, Mormons. So when the Book of Mormon says you can't commit wickedness and be exalted, God isn't going to slap you on the wrist and say, come on in. That's not justice. And the Mormons know this. It's in their scriptures. They're taught it. They're condemned as wicked by their leaders. But they don't think, wait a minute, the leaders also are applicable to these same rules and laws that we as regular members are. They're not held to a higher standard. They are held to a higher standard by Mormons, but it's the same laws they have to abide by. They can't murder, they can't steal, they can't bear false witness, lie, they can't commit adultery. You know, the same things that Mormons can't do, the church leaders can't do either. And so it's horrifying that Mormons give the prophets a little more leeway, even though they're held to a higher standard once they get exposed. That's when the higher standard comes in. But before that, Mormons give every kind of leeway and justification and excuse to let the brethren go. But not in this case, guys, because the basis for my case is that the church had me arrested in 2008, and instead of going to trial, they just disappeared me. No trial, no conviction, just an accusation, and disappeared. And they paid the person who had me disappeared. And they had been paying at least into 2019, the end of 2019, which was when I found out that they were trying to cover it up, finally. So, I just, what do I do, Mormons? You guys are going to want me dead. Because in all reality, I won the case. The request for relief is everything. It's now mine. It's not an official order yet, but I won. I followed the law, the church did not. And so, I mean, seriously, Mormons, are you going to die for the church and then find out it was all wrong anyway, that you were deceived? You know, and to use arguments of afterlife speculation are unsound. And so I'm typically hesitant to bring those up. I don't see the logic of it on earth either. You can't have a church that takes away agency of other people, because those other people will rebel. They will stand up and say, no, this is not right. I demand freedom. I demand justice. And you can't take that away from people. and claim that you're the true church of the true God. You know that's not God. That is not justice. So, anyway, nobody's listening anymore, and my audience apparently is dead. According to YouTube analytics, my audience is at the risk for coronavirus, and my stats have dropped as coronavirus continues. Oh well.